Hello and welcome to Canadian Disc Golf Productions coverage of Putt Confidently Presents Project 15 Open FPO Round 2 Front 9.
Yeah, and we're at the legendary Project 15 course. This is such an exclusive course. It's going to be a real treat to follow the FPOs around on the teal layout.
I'm Kat Johnson, aka Kat Throws Discs.
And I'm Jess Sparrow.
Thank you for joining us today for this lovely coverage of this amazing tournament. This tournament is part of the OCC Tour, so division winners and higher placed finishers will receive entries to provincials.
Yeah, this event is also supported and sponsored by PDGA Canada.
Look at this lovely aerial view. I believe this is looking over hole 2 and hole 3's fairway. Just gorgeous. Let's introduce our competitors. So here we have Rebecca Dawn from Westport, Ontario.
And we have our very own Kat Johnson here from Toronto, Ontario.
Joining us is Alexander Poletto, also from Toronto, Ontario, 879 rated.
And we have the legendary Poletto McInnes from Burlington, Ontario at 928 rating.
So here we go. Hole 1. It's a par 5, 612-foot hole. This is an amazing hole. I believe it's called Stone Fence. Which, fun fact, it's named after the rock piles that cross the hole twice and frame the green. So, first thing you'll want to do off the tee, most common landing zone, is throwing kind of a hyzer backhand out to this spot, and then you have a nice straight shot, hopefully approaching the basket. You kind of have to contend with some of these guardian trees here. And if you do hit one of these trees, just pitch up and get that tap in par. So kicking the round off here is Rebecca Dawn. She's only 16 years old, but she can absolutely crush those discs, and she's getting herself into a fantastic spot here, looking right at the corner.
Now on the tee here is we have Kat Johnson. Let's see what she's going to line up here on hole 1 at Project 15.
Ooh, I did not know I hit that rock. I was wondering where my disc would end up, and wasn't in the spot that I thought, and now I know why. It's always weird looking back at your own round on coverage.
Yeah, and then here we have Alexandra Poletto getting off the tee.
Unfortunately, she clips a tree to the right of the fairway. That's kind of one of the things you want to avoid. You don't want to go too early left or too late right. It's really tough to get into position for par from there. It's a long hole, very technical and very reliant on placement. So let's see if Alex can scramble from this spot, and that's a pretty wonderful shot from there.
Yeah, it looks like she got out of trouble there, and it's gonna have another approach shot. Let's see how Rebecca does. This is her second shot. Let's see if she can tackle the green. Looks like she's going right for the cameraman, right over. That's what happens sometimes on these rounds. You have a target to aim for, and you just go for it.
I don't know about you, Sparrow, but my discs love to fly towards people and or trees, so looks like that's what Rebecca's disc did there. Colleen with a nice approach shot. And just a little hyzer for me from my kind of awkward footing from in a juniper bush. So there's a rule here for this tournament that if you can take casual or not casual relief from juniper bushes. If your disc lands in one, you can just play from the kind of like the next available spot from in the juniper bush, so you can take a little bit of relief back from it. You don't have to throw from inside, which makes for a little bit of an easier shot. So here we have a couple of really nice approaches to the green. I'm going for my third shot. I have a small little gap here, just trying to pitch out.
You'll have a good putt from there. A lot of these ladies on the car are getting through clean. Let's see how Colleen is going to tackle the basket.
All right, looks like we're all kind of pitched out to about 15-20 feet. As you can see here, it's quite windy at this point in the round. First round was a little bit calmer, but now the winds are picking up. So we're going to be really thinking about that in our throws. And here I am, really waiting for the wind to die down during my putt. And I kind of psyched myself out there and undercommitted. So I think I'll have to settle for a par here.
Those putts are tough too, right? A couple inches and it would have been in. That's what you kind of think to yourself. The wind definitely makes a big difference. You can see it flopping around in the trees there as Colleen sinks her putt.
For the bird.
And Alexandra lining up. She's traditionally a really good putter and shows that here on this hole as well.
And great scramble and par save on this hole from Alex.
And Rebecca with the putt, as we mentioned, the new young gun on the FPO field this season, coming in hot.
Yeah, fantastic. I don't even know if you could call it a scramble from her tee shot. I mean, she did have to pitch out around the corner, but she ended up making good for her birdie. So well done. We all kind of came out of this hole fairly scot-free, and now we can roll up to hole 2, which is a little shorty. 208 feet, par 3. The basket is sitting on the edge of this little cliff here. There's not any OB, but you really don't want to land down there. You're kind of...
Looks like trouble down there, Kat.
It's trouble.
Fun fact about hole 2 here at the legendary Project 15. This hole is called the Charged Gap.
As you can see, there is kind of a gap that you have to throw through. It plays to a hyzer or a nice straight shot, but it's quite easy to hit one of the trees if you don't think about your shot. Here we have a plastic playback. Colleen just absolutely pins this basket. Let's take another look from the other side.
And crossing that gap, as it's kind of named, the Charge Gap, you don't want to be down the hill. You just want to be under the tee, under the pin, or beyond. You want to be safe. You don't want to make any uphill putts here.
Absolutely not. The potential for rollaways are real on this course.
And Kat lining up. Do you remember how this turned out?
Well, I don't want to spoil anything for you, so we'll see what happens, but I'm opting for a standstill here. It's a short hole, so no need to do any sort of fancy run-ups. And it looks like we're getting 2 plastic playbacks on this hole.
The winner of our own plastic playback, that standstill, coming in clutch here, leaving it right in the middle of the fairway.
And let's see what Alex does here. Looks like she's lining up a hyzer.
And that wind, you can see it in the trees here. Like, it looks like, I'll just shoot a nice shot down the middle, let it hyzer out a bit, but that wind is contentious and can push that right to left real quick. And you see Alex taking it a bit long here.
Yeah, absolutely. This wind was interesting for this tee shot because it's kind of, you want to hyzer towards the basket, but the wind is kind of pushing you the other way. So you kind of have to adjust your angle or your stability there. As I have a kneeling straddle putt. I have to get around these little trees here.
Great putt.
Thanks.
No spoilers.
Thank you, Putt Club, for setting me up for success for that one. I'm sure if you've been to East End Putting League, shout out. You've played at that station before, the kneeling putt, so thank you. Shout out to them for that. Colleen gets her birdie as well. Alex taps in her par. And Rebecca with the absolute park job. Or I guess her park job for the layup. And taps in a par.
These ladies making it look easy here on hole 2.
Oh, here we go.
Okay.
Look
nice
at that wonderful
form.
Absolutely.
As we roll into hole 3, this is a par 5, 883 foot monster hole. The hole is called the Gateway, and that's because you have to pass through a few gates and play on gateway drugs, and how you set up the gate to the green is important.
Yeah, absolutely.
Fun facts.
Fun facts here. So we're playing here from the long tee pad. So we are playing a modified layout specifically developed for FPO called the teal layout. And it's essentially the blue layout on UDisc, but with adjusted pars for FPO. And basically you alternate longs to shorts starting from hole 1. So on this hole we're going from longs, and you're throwing across that valley, and it's kind of a blind uphill shot. You're kind of aiming for a hyzer shot, just landing right in the middle of the fairway you see to the left of Rebecca. Too far left though, and you're in a lot of trees. It's pretty tough to get out. Too far right, and you're stuck in some juniper bushes with obstructions. So straight down the middle is obviously the best way to go here, which sets you up for a nice straight approach shots.
Yeah, I'm really appreciating the different elevation changes, the different topography of the course here. Really, really interesting on hole 3. Colleen found herself in a little bit of trouble here. Let's see if she can scramble out.
Yeah, tough shot with, very difficult footing. Can't see the fairway very well from there. So Colleen pitches out to a good spot, setting herself up for a nice straight shot. Catches a little bit of that wind here. Disc turns over a little bit, but she'll still be able to access the green from there.
All right, and Rebecca here, she's lining up for her second shot.
Mm-hmm.
Her first one was a crush. In case you didn't watch that form check, she's got it covered, and it's going to show here.
Rebecca gets far down the fairway there on the left side. She'll have a nice hyzer approach shot from that point.
And Kat, you're lining up one here with the wind howling across the fairway. What are you going for when you're stepping up to this shot?
So I'm just going for as straight of a shot as possible. I know the wind is pushing right to left here, so I really don't want to throw anything too stable. I don't want to get caught up in those trees, so something straight to counteract the wind. So I'm going with my turn here, and I land myself in a favorable spot. That's exactly where I want to be.
And kind of online with the cameraman, trees and people.
The cameramen are always in the perfect landing zone. So if you're ever wondering where your next shot should be, and there's a cameraman filming you, always go for where they're standing. Pro tip right there. So here you have Alex lining up from her crush of a drive. I'm not sure if you've watched any previous coverage before or you're familiar with Alex, but she can absolutely smash those discs. And here's another smash. Just 2 shots and she's pretty much almost at the basket there. So
she says 883 feet. What? I'll get there in 3 shots. No problem.
No problem for Alex. And Colleen throwing a turnover to get around the big pine tree here. I think she gets caught up in it a little bit, but she'll be on the right side of it, so she will be able to have a look at the basket.
Rebecca catching a little bit of trouble there on the left-hand side, but from what I've seen so far, I'm sure she'll be able to scramble out. And Kat, you got a look at it. What's going through your head right now?
I'm trying not to think too hard about the rocks. I'm not sure if you can see it with the scores at the bottom, but there's kind of a rock right in front of my run-up, so I'm just trying to walk around it, try not to think about it too much, and...
Plastic playback.
Oh, here's a plastic playback. I managed to throw a nice straight shot, and the tree kick helped me hyzer towards the basket.
Thanks,
gotta love
tree.
some tree. Yeah, gotta love some help from the trees. Next time you're out at the course, go hug a tree. They'll love you back. Here we have Alex with a nice and easy straight approach shot to the basket.
Is that her third shot?
That's her third shot, I believe.
Incredible.
very awesome to see the distance and the power there.
The new up-and-comers in the FPO field, it's changed a lot over the last few years, and it's people like Alexandra, Rebecca, Kat, and Colleen, you know, pushing things forward. So thank you, FPO division.
Yeah, it's so awesome to see all the new talent and the young guns coming in at such a young age, and with already the skills under their tool belt to compete at this level. It's awesome to see, and you can't help but to cheer them on and be so excited for them.
And Colleen there gets a little bit of a friendly tree, roll back to the basket. You know, a bit of a tough hole for her, so it's nice to see a little love coming back her way. And Alex catches some metal there, but still gonna walk away with her par. Oh, Cat.
Let's start the Miss Birdie counter right now. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, it was a little windy, and again, 20 feet away, tester range for me today, so didn't quite connect on that one, but I'll be tapping in a par. Same with Rebecca and Alex with a par as well. Oh, playing by the rules here. Furthest out goes next.
Just by a little bit.
Just by a disc. And Colleen tapping out her bogey. My apologies. Yeah, really tough hole, especially in this wind. Very long. So really, really interesting to see how we tackled it. And now we're on to hole 4, also known as the goalie or the keeper. It's 152 feet, par 3. You have this massive tree with a low-hanging branch to contend with. It's just a straight shot, but the key is to keep it low and keep it straight, and hopefully you don't get into too much trouble.
That's it? Keep it low, keep it straight?
That's it.
Got it.
Easy as that.
Check,
so
check.
easy. We should all be parking it right under the basket, right?
Right.
Well, I didn't heed my own advice, and I get caught up in the tree. A little late release there. I'll be in the trees on the right. It's going to be interesting to see what kind of look I have from there.
All right, lining up here is Rebecca on the tee. Let's see if she can keep it flat and straight and right to the basket, and she does.
Makes it look real easy.
Aims right for the cameraman. Oh, and a plastic playback. I love watching these.
Yes. It's so fun to see the shot from the other way, kind of from the basket's perspective. And Rebecca really scared the basket there.
And Alex with a good shot as well. She'll have a putt there. And her own plastic playback.
We are just on fire with these plastic playbacks today.
Go FPO.
Just getting over the last bit of rocks at the end, landing herself in circle 1. And lastly, here we have Colleen. She's really good at these line drive straight shots. Unfortunately, her disc catches a little lift with the wind, gets under that branch, but she'll be right in the middle of the fairway. Should be able to get up and down from there.
All right, and we got Kat here lining up a shot out of, tree purgatory, but makes it look easy, and she'll have a good putt from there.
Yeah, not much I can do from there, but I was happy with the result. I got out and gave myself a putt, and that's all you can hope for when you're in those situations.
Colleen with a good putt. Alex, still a good putt. Unfortunately, not a conversion. And we got Kat wrapping it up.
Just sneaking one in, saving that par. And Rebecca with the lone birdie on the card.
Her putt, so smooth. Look at that butter.
So smooth, so confident. Very consistent, as you will see. We could all take notes and tips from these ladies.
And that's a wrap there on hole 4. Oh, another smooth, buttery. Rebecca.
Amazing
When I grow
stuff.
up, I want to be you.
So here we have hole 5. It's a par 4, 411 feet. You're shooting out this kind of a wider tunnel gap. It's a bit of a downhill shot with an interesting slope on the hole. So it kind of slopes very subtly right to left. So you don't want to hyzer out too much, because then you can get stuck behind one of these juniper bushes. And then you just have another backhand hyzer approach to the basket. It's a par 4. In previous years, it's been a par 3, so it's a refreshing change. Makes it definitely gettable for this group and for this division as well. So let's see how we do. It's definitely not as straightforward of a gap as it seems, especially if you want to get, you know, all that distance down there. So, and when you're contending with wind. So let's see how this group does, as Rebecca just gets a little bit caught up on the right side of the trees, but she still lands herself in the middle of the fairway.
And we got our very own Kat here lining up for her shot. And look at the fairway from the tee shot. Like, it looks like it's so beautifully manicured and crafted. Really, really exclusive experience here at Project 15. And Kat, you're a little bit left.
A little bit left, but as I've come to learn, it's not too bad over there. It opens up. Once you get past kind of those pine trees you can see on the left, there's a lot more space. Just a little obstructed with the juniper bushes in front of you, but it's really not as bad as it looks over there.
And we saw Alex there with a tee shot right in the middle. Little tree hit, but she'll be good in the middle. And Colleen lining one up here.
Colleen getting a little high, but still landing left in the fairway, so she'll have an open approach to the basket. She's still got a little bit of distance left, but her approach game is on point, so let's see how she does here. Unfortunately, getting caught up on the trees on the right as well. This wind really makes you second guess your shots and puts you in tricky situations, so yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see how this group manages and tackles those scramble situations. That's what woods golf is all about, as Rebecca puts her disc right to near the circle. Colleen getting herself in the circle as well. You can kind of make out a faint a tassel, white tassel on the ground. I like how they kept the tassels to like a neutral color. It really doesn't really distract from the beautiful natural surroundings, as I get caught up in yet more juniper bushes. The release a little too low. Didn't want to throw into the wind, so I threw under it and not high enough.
Right, that wind, like you're saying, it really kind of forces you to think about the different elevations on your shot, you know, the flight plate of the disc, how that's going to come across in you know, when you approach the basket.
Yeah, lots to think about in the wind, especially when you have various elevation changes and tight gaps to hit and putts to make. Every throw you're kind of doing, you know, calculations in your brain.
Yeah, it's not always about how far you can get, but sometimes when you're playing these wooded holes, it's about where you're going to place it for your next shot, especially on some longer holes out here at Project 15.
Yeah, absolutely. Placement golf is the name of the game here, and that's what's going to be important strategy to shoot well here, especially when, you know, nobody can play perfect in the woods, or if you are, congratulations, you're not human. But you know, it's about managing your next shot and playing smart and kind of knowing the course and being able to figure out how to get out of tough situations.
And congratulations, because all these putts are going in. Colleen had one a little bit back. It was her plastic playback. Kat made her putt. Alex made her putt. Rebecca tapping in.
Yeah, we're bringing it for this final round here. Second round of the day. We're trying to finish strong.
As we head into hole 6. This is a par 4, or 580 feet here at Project 15. And it looks like it's a very guarded basket. Lots of trees to try and get through, you know? Kat, how are you gonna tackle this hole? What's going through your head right now?
So, going through my head is don't hit a tree. But off the tee, you're you're looking at these two kind of guardian trees in the middle. Your first play is to either throw straight down the trees, or the most common play is you're going to be hyzering to the right of them and landing yourself in the middle of the fairway. As Rebecca, she releases a little low, but she still lands in a good spot in the middle of the fairway. So yeah, that's definitely the play off the tee. As a par 4, it's just about placement off the tee, hopefully putting yourself into a nice open spot. I'll release a little high, but it's going to hyzer back down into the middle of the fairway as well.
Keeping it consistent, right for the camera. Love it.
Made the cameraman turn around a little bit. That's always good.
Make them work. Colleen catches a tree there.
And Alex going a little bit wide, but she gets a kick towards the fairway. So hopefully she won't be too obstructed on her next shot.
And as we watch the FPO ladies move up towards the basket here, fun fact for hole 6, this hole is called Erratic, which is a boulder dropped by glaciers, and the basket is set in a huge granite boulder carried here by glaciers from far north. So fun fact here on hole 6 at Project 15.
We're bringing you all the fun facts today. We're getting to know the course with you, just sharing the joys of this amazing and legendary, secret and special course. I love playing here. It's just so beautiful. No matter what time of year, it's always just feels so great to be here, surrounded by this amazing nature.
Oh, cat.
So here's my second shot. I pushed it a little too straight. I wanted it to hyzer more towards the basket, but now I'm kind of deep of the basket in the woods, landing myself behind a few trees, so it's going to be an interesting spot from there. As Alex gets her approach to inside the circle by the basket as well. And Colleen gives it a nice little run. You know she's going for a run when she's throwing that orange disc. I've learned. And Rebecca with the bid here, just a little low, but she doesn't get too bad of a roll away, and she'll be able to save that par.
Cat, it looks like you got a bit of a weird stance here, stuck behind some squiggly trees.
Very awkward straddle hyzer putt there to get myself around trees, so gave it a good run as Alex makes a huge putt for her bogey save. That was a great putt. Always tricky to run those elevated putts. You know, it takes guts to do that. So kudos to Alex for connecting on that. And I make good for my par.
Pars are good, especially when you're playing wooded holes. Anything could happen. You can catch a tree early. Nothing wrong with a par.
That's right. A lot of these holes, you come out happy, like content with pars, because it can be quite challenging with all the guardian trees and tight fairways. Very demanding holes, lots of long holes on this course, so
very
pars
demanding.
are good.
Yeah, and very demanding. We're talking about pars, right? Very demanding course. This is a par 71 from the teal layout, so lots and lots of places to convert, but also places to potentially get in trouble.
And here we have, speaking of trouble, here we have hole 7, 328 foot par 3, also known as the pine box, because there are a lot of big pines on the green, like a coffin. So maybe that means if you get too caught up in these trees, you know, count that birdie out, because these trees are protecting the basket very well. So very fun tee shot. You really want to throw as straight down the middle as possible. You don't want to go too left or too right. There's so many trees to contend with, and you know, while still trying to get down there 328 feet. So fun, challenging hole. Let's see if we can get anyone in the circle here.
Right, it almost feels like a straight at it with a mid, nice and controlled, tight lines.
Oh, we get a little tree help
Little
to the middle
love.
of the fairway.
Little tree love on hole 7 here at Project 15.
The fun of this hole is that you never know, you know, where the tree kick's gonna put you. So, you know, one person might kick the same tree, they'll kick left and they'll be wide open, or one person might kick a tree right and they'll be very obstructed. You just never know in this hole, so it's like a fun game of Plinko.
Is the price is right? Are you gonna win birdies? What's gonna happen?
Hopefully birdies, hopefully pars on this card, as Alex makes an amazing bid for the basket with this beautiful flex shot all around all the trees, landing yourself maybe about 25 feet from the basket. Great shot.
And you're lining up for one here, Kat, trying to get through. Little tap.
Little tree tap, still end up with an open look at the basket. Bit of a tester range there, maybe 20 feet. And our CTP Colleen here, she's caught up in the trees on the left, so she'll have to pitch out to the tree line and settle for a par. Whew.
What do we say, Plinko for pars?
I'm trying to save my par here and
Great putt.
just trying my best not to fall over. No foot fault there, or no falling putt there. The basket did not want to give me my putter back. And here we have Alex going for her par save bid here and makes good. Alex is one of the top female putters in East End Putting League, and it shows. Fun fact.
Fun facts all day. And we got Rebecca here closing out the hole.
Just because we're in the woods doesn't mean the wind is over, and you can still see the trees moving about. The wind is still filtering through all these trees, making for a pretty tough round. So here we have hole 8. It's a par 5, 619 feet. Again, you know, this hole is all about placement off the tee. You'll want to throw a bit of a turnover shot, or a backhand turnover shot, or a forehand, landing yourself just past these trees in the middle of the screen here, leaving yourself with a backhand hyzer approach to the basket. These ladies have the distance to get to the basket in 2 shots. It's all about, you know, executing on those placement shots and staying clean from the trees. You really don't want to go early right, because then you cannot get around that corner to access the next fairway. So let's see how we do.
Let's see how you do. Leading off the tee box.
So a little bit of an overcorrection from my first round. I turned a disc over early right, so now I'm just trying to correct and go straight with the flippy disc, and unfortunately it hyzers out into the trees on the right, but it's not as bad over there. You can still access the next fairway. So we'll see what kind of luck I have. As Colleen, there's a nice hyzer flip straight down the middle of the fairway. Alex going for that turnover line, and she gets through the local route way through the trees and ends up down the next fairway on the right hand side.
And we got Rebecca here rounding out the tee on hole 8, lining up her shot, sending one down. This looks good.
Oh, I played with Rebecca first round, and she basically, and I thought her first round shot was impressive. She basically threw maybe 50 feet past that into an even better spot. So that's a crush. I mean, I want to say that's at least 430 feet down the fairway, and just a beautiful shot in the perfect spot you want to be. So just incredible things for Rebecca. Colleen as well. She throws a nice second shot there, right in the middle of the fairway. I'm looks like I'm left with the pitch out. I'm going with the putter. I just want to get into a nice safe spot for set myself up for a an easier up shot.
Right, and to all the new players out there, people just getting started, sometimes it's not about getting as much distance as possible, especially when you're trying to get back onto the fairway. Sometimes it's about taking your disc golf lumps and bumps, as I call it, and just making a smart shot and setting yourself up for the next one.
And speaking of distance and smart shots, Alex's throw had both of those things. She threw an amazing flex shot, just weaving right through the fairway, just getting almost all the way to the basket just in her second shot. So really well played, especially from kind of a pinched off side on the right. So amazing execution there from Alex as I get myself into circle 2-ville with my third shot. And this is Rebecca's second shot here, folks. She just has a little bit of a tree kick, but she still lands in a great spot in the fairway.
And as we are coming into our approaches and our putts, oof, look at that. We got a fun fact for you. This hole is called the Tiger Trail. It is a shout out to Tiger Woods, and because the hole is wavy like the tail of a tiger, and tigers are scary, and this hole is kind of hard.
These are straight facts. This hole is hard, but some of these ladies are making it look real easy. Rebecca, for example, breaking it up into some very manageable shots. So as long as you don't, try to get too aggressive and try to do too much with your throws, you're going to give yourself some eagle looks, just like Rebecca. She ended up a little low, cage high for her eagle putt, but she'll still have a tap-in birdie, which is fantastic.
And Kat, what a great putt.
Thank you.
Finding chains, getting your own plastic playback. Let's see that again, folks. From a bit of a tough spot and finds it.
Just a little putt through the tree gap. It goes in. I'm thrilled.
And the crowd loves it.
Yeah, we had a great crowd. We had my caddy, my good friend Mark, on the bag. Very supportive, very happy and grateful to have him on the bag, carrying my super heavy backpack with him. And then we had Lauren caddying for Colleen and some spectators as well. So it was a fun group. It was so nice to have people out and supporting and cheering the FPO division on. Very heartwarming.
Let's go FPO, and 2 birdies there. Colleen, Rebecca, both finding green. As we roll into hole 9, this is a par 3, 309-foot hole at Project 15, and you can see trees on the left, trees on the right. This is another straight tunnel shot. So what's going through your head right now, Kat?
Just keep it straight and stay out of trouble. This is one hole that you really can't afford to pull too right or too left. Just a lot of us are going to be going with a flippy fairway, flippy mid, just keeping it down the fairway. Just going for those ace runs. I know we had some close calls last round. I believe Colleen almost rang up an ace on this hole, so let's see if we can make that happen again as I late release my disc but still get a favorable kick to the middle of the fairway. Colleen's disc looks like it turns over just a touch, but it gets pretty far down there. She'll be on the right side behind the trees. Unfortunate kick there for Alex. She kicks from the left side of the fairway to the right side trees. It's a bit of a jail in there. Again, with this wind, it's so easy to second guess. You have this, you can see by the leaves, it's a right to left wind now, which kind of goes against what you want to throw here. So very tricky. Everything's pushing you to the right. So my upshot looks like I get a little bit too hyzered into the trees on the right. I'll have an interesting lie there behind some trees. Alex trying to pitch out, but unfortunately gets caught up in the trees as well. There's all these little trees. It's very hard to find. When you're really deep in that tree line, it's really hard to find a way out.
Rebecca making it look easy.
We have Colleen's second shot. Beautiful little bid. I'm not sure if that's what she was going for, but that was beautiful to see it flexing around those trees, almost going in the basket.
All right, Kat lining up from the knee.
It's hard to tell, but I have that little baby pine tree right in front of me, so trying to do a bit of a Annie or turnover putt there, but kind of coming into the chains a little hot and getting a spit out and just having to settle with the bogey. So next up we have Colleen. I believe this is for a par. Looks like she's about 15 feet. No problem. Colleen also a solid putter. And Rebecca and Alex just cleaning up.
And while these ladies clean up here, you can see the pound on the top of the basket. And that's because this hole 9 was the pound hole, which means if somebody aced it, they would have received a free pound bag thanks to the ODSA.
Wow, that's incredible. Thank you, Pound, and thank you, ODSA. We almost had an ace like I mentioned before, so that would have been a really sweet prize to walk away with. And that just about does it for the front 9. Recapping the scores here, we have Rebecca in the lead, shooting a 7 down. Then we have myself with an even, Alex with a 3, and Colleen with a number that I cannot recall right now, but you have just seen it on the screen. So thank you so much for watching the front 9 of Canadian Disc Golf Productions Project 15 coverage, and we'll see you on the back 9.